Chapter 1. A World on the Edge. The world is changing, faster than ever before. Leaders stand before cameras, their voices calm. But behind closed doors, their hands shake. Their words are careful, their decisions dangerous. In Washington, the U.S. government meets late into the night. A crisis. A decision must be made. But what is the right choice? Support Ukraine, risk war with Russia, or step back and let the world see America's weakness? In Moscow, the Kremlin watches. Cold, sharp eyes follow the news. The Russian president sits still. He listens. He waits. His voice is quiet, but firm. They will not stop us. His generals nod. His soldiers prepare. The war in Ukraine is not just about Ukraine anymore. It is a test. Who is stronger? Who will break first? In Beijing, China watches both sides. It is patient, always patient. The West fights among itself. The U.S. and Europe argue. Russia moves forward. And China? It builds. It grows. Its factories never sleep. Its ships never stop. It does not need war to win. It only needs time. The world is not the same as before. The Cold War is gone. But a new conflict is coming. No one says it aloud. No one wants to believe it. But it is there, waiting. The streets of Kyiv are cold. Snow falls on broken buildings. A soldier checks his weapon. His hands shake, not from fear, but from exhaustion. He has not slept in 2 days. He looks at his phone. No message from his family. He sighs and puts it away. Tonight, he fights again. A journalist in New York writes her article. Is the U.S. still the leader of the free world? She hesitates. The answer used to be simple. Now she is not sure. Her editor calls. Change the title, he says. Make it softer. She obeys. On social media, millions read the news. But what is true? What is fake? AI-generated videos show leaders saying things they never said. People believe lies because the truth is too complicated. In a secret room, a billionaire looks at a map. His company controls satellites, data, and artificial intelligence. He smiles. They think governments run the world, he whispers. They are wrong. The battle for power is everywhere. It is in government meetings, on the internet, in business deals. It is fought with weapons and with information. And yet, most people do not see it. A teacher in London walks into her classroom. Her students talk about movies, music, and football. They laugh. The world outside is tense, but inside, life continues. A fisherman in the South China Sea pulls his net from the water. He does not care about politics. He cares about feeding his family. But he sees something in the sky. A drone. Watching. It belongs to China. Or maybe the U.S. He does not know. But he knows one thing. His sea is not his own anymore. A mother in Moscow watches her son pack his bag. He has been called to serve. Will you be safe? She asks. He does not answer, because he does not know. A businessman in Berlin checks his stocks. The economy is falling. Energy prices are high. Factories close. He calls a friend. Move our money to Asia, he says. The West is getting weaker. This is the world in 2025. A world where the rules are breaking, where the strong fight to stay on top, where the weak try to survive. A world where technology is more powerful than armies. Who will win? Who will lose? And what will it cost? The answers are not clear. But one thing is certain. The world stands on the edge, and it will never be the same again. Chapter 2. The Superpowers Today. A cold wind blows over Washington, D.C. The streets are busy. Cars move slowly. People walk fast, heads down, lost in their thoughts. Inside the White House, the president sits at his desk. The room is quiet. Only the sound of a ticking clock fills the space. Papers are spread across the table. Reports, warnings, numbers, maps. An advisor speaks. China is growing stronger, he says. Russia will not stop in Ukraine. The president takes a deep breath. His face is tired. His eyes are serious. And the U.S.? He asks. There is silence. A long silence. Then the advisor finally speaks. We are not as strong as before. For years, the U.S. was the leader of the world. Its military was the most powerful. Its economy was the biggest. Its technology was ahead of everyone. But things have changed. Russia has shown its strength. It took Crimea in 2014. It invaded Ukraine in 2022. It faced sanctions, but it did not collapse. It fought. It adapted. And now, in 2025, it is still pushing forward. The West expected Russia to fall. It did not. China, too, is rising. Not with war, but with money, influence, and technology. Its factories never stop. It builds roads and ports in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. It makes deals. It gains power without fighting. The world depends on China for phones, computers, and electric cars. It owns the rare minerals. It controls the supply chains. And the U.S.? The U.S. is still powerful. But inside the country, there are problems. Protests, divisions, debt. Some say the U.S. is still the leader of the world. Others say it is losing its place. In Moscow, the Russian president stands in a grand hall. Red curtains hang behind him. He looks at a group of military officers. He speaks slowly, calmly. We do not fear the West, he says. Russia is strong, and Russia will decide its own future. The officers nod. The war in Ukraine has cost many lives, but Russia does not stop. The West has sent weapons to Ukraine. Russia has found new allies, China, Iran, North Korea, new trade routes, new ways to survive. In Beijing, the Chinese president sits in a large room. A screen in front of him shows a map of the world. Red dots mark the places where China is growing. New investments, new trade agreements, new military bases. A voice speaks through a speaker. The U.S. is weak, the advisor says. Russia is focused on war. Now is our time. The president does not smile. He does not speak quickly. He only nods. China does not rush. It plans. It waits. And when the time is right, it moves. Europe watches. Germany, France, and the United Kingdom want to stay strong. But their economies are struggling. Their energy prices are high. They depend on the U.S., but they also trade with China. They support Ukraine, but they fear war with Russia. What is their future? No one knows. In the Middle East, new alliances are forming. Saudi Arabia once worked closely with the U.S., but now it makes deals with China. It talks with Russia. Oil is power, and power is shifting. Africa is full of opportunities. The U.S. and Europe send aid. China builds roads and factories. Russia sends weapons. Each superpower wants influence. Each one plays the game differently. In South America, leaders are choosing sides. Some want to stay close to the U.S., others turn to China. The world is changing everywhere. And in space, a new battlefield is opening. The U.S. has NASA. China has its own space station. Russia works on new weapons. Satellites, AI, and cyber attacks will decide the wars of the future. Not just tanks, not just missiles, but technology. A journalist in New York types on her computer. "Is this a new Cold War?" she writes. She stops. She thinks. Maybe it is not a Cold War. Maybe it is something new, something different. In a small village in Ukraine, a mother holds her child. Outside, there is the sound of explosions. The war is far away, but not far enough. She does not care about superpowers. She only wants her child to be safe. In a factory in China, a worker assembles microchips. He does not think about global politics. He only cares about his next paycheck. But without him, the world's technology would stop. In a small town in Texas, a farmer listens to the news. Prices are going up. Foreign companies buy more land. He shakes his head. The world is changing, he says. And it is. The world of 2025 is no longer simple. It is not just the U.S. against Russia, not just democracy against dictatorship. It is a new balance of power. 3 superpowers. Each with its own goals, each with its own strengths, each with its own weaknesses. The question is not who is strongest. The question is who will last the longest, and in the end, who will win? Chapter 3. Secret Alliances, Hidden Conflicts. A plane lands in the middle of the night. The runway is empty. No reporters, no cameras, no questions. A black car waits nearby. The door opens. A man steps out. His suit is expensive. His expression is serious. He walks quickly, his footsteps echoing in the silence. Another man waits for him. He smiles, but the smile is thin, careful, forced. They shake hands. A simple gesture. But this handshake is not for the world to see. It is not for history books. It is a secret, a deal, a promise. In Washington, the U.S. government holds a meeting. Officials sit in a large room. Maps cover the walls. Red circles mark areas of conflict: Ukraine, Taiwan, the Middle East. A man points to one of them. "We need more support from our allies," he says. "Europe must do more." But Europe is divided. Some leaders agree, others hesitate. Behind closed doors, they argue. Germany wants to protect its economy. France wants to lead Europe. The UK wants to stand with the US, but not too closely. Allies, partners, friends, or just countries with their own interests? Far away in Moscow, a similar meeting takes place. The Russian president sits at the head of a long table. His advisors listen. One of them speaks. "China is with us," he says. "They support us." The president does not smile. He knows the truth. China does not give support for free. It expects something in return. Trade, resources, power. Russia and China stand together. But for how long? In Beijing, Chinese officials watch the world carefully. They see the US growing weaker. They see Europe struggling. They see Russia fighting. A man in a dark suit leans forward. His voice is calm. "We will help Russia," he says, "but not too much." China does not trust Russia completely, and Russia does not trust China. They work together, but they watch each other closely. Each step, each word, each promise is carefully measured. And then there are the smaller nations, the ones caught in the middle. In Turkey, a president plays both sides. He meets with NATO leaders one day. He shakes hands with Russian officials the next. His country is a bridge between East and West, a dangerous place to be. In the Middle East, new agreements are made. Saudi Arabia once followed the US. Now it makes deals with China. Iran once stood alone. Now it has secret connections with Russia. Oil, weapons, intelligence. Deals signed behind closed doors. And what about Africa? China builds roads, ports, and cities. The West offers aid and loans. Russia sends mercenaries. Everyone wants influence. Everyone wants control. But who is really helping? Who is only using? A journalist in London writes a report. "The world is more connected than ever," she types, "but also more divided." She stops. She thinks. A question fills her mind. If alliances are changing so quickly, how do we know who is truly on our side? In Kiev, a Ukrainian soldier listens to the news. He hears that the US might stop sending weapons. He hears that Europe is uncertain. He hears that Russia is getting support from China, Iran, and North Korea. His heart feels heavy. Outside, the war continues. Bombs fall. Buildings crumble. A child cries. And in the middle of it all, politicians make their deals. In Washington, another meeting begins. More handshakes, more promises. "We will stand together," a leader says, but behind his back, other leaders whisper. In Moscow, a phone call is made. A quiet voice gives orders. Prepare the next move. In Beijing, a document is signed. No cameras, no public statements, just a quiet decision that will change the world. The battle for power is not always fought with armies. Sometimes it is fought with words, with handshakes, with secrets, and in the end, trust is the rarest currency of all. Chapter 4. The Ukraine War. A global conflict? The night is cold. The sky is dark. In the distance, a siren screams. A soldier stands in the ruins of a building. His uniform is dirty. His hands are shaking. He looks at the sky, waiting for the next explosion. His radio crackles. A voice speaks. Stay alert. In Kiev, people hide underground. Mothers hold their children. An old man reads a book by candlelight. Outside, the war continues. Missiles fall, windows break, streets are empty. Ukraine fights. It has fought since the invasion began in 2022. It has lost cities, but it has not given up. The world watches. The US and Europe send weapons. Russia sends more troops, and the war goes on. In Washington, a meeting takes place. Leaders argue. Should we send more aid? One asks. Another shakes his head. The people are tired. The money is running out. The president listens. His face is serious. His decision could change everything. In Moscow, the Russian government watches carefully. They hear the news. They see the hesitation. A general leans forward. If the West steps back, we step forward. The Russian president nods. His soldiers prepare. The battlefield is not only in Ukraine. It is in politics. It is in speeches. It is in the minds of leaders across the world. A Ukrainian soldier walks through the ruins of a city. He remembers his home before the war. A small house, a warm kitchen, laughter. Now, only silence remains. He picks up his rifle and keeps walking. In Europe, people protest. Some want more support for Ukraine. Others want peace talks. No more war, they shout. No more weapons. But is peace possible? Can a war end if only one side wants it to? In China, leaders watch from a distance. They do not send weapons, but they send money. They buy Russian oil. They strengthen their position. If Russia wins, China wins too. If Russia loses, China will not fall with it. In the Middle East, a different battle is brewing. Countries that once depended on the US now look to Russia and China. New alliances are forming. Old ones are breaking. In Africa, in Latin America, leaders make quiet decisions. They see the war, but they also see an opportunity. They ask themselves, which side will win, and which side should we choose? The war in Ukraine is no longer just about Ukraine. It is a test of power, a test of leadership, a test of survival. A Ukrainian mother kisses her son's forehead. Be strong, she whispers. He is too young to understand war, too young to know why they must leave their home. She picks up her bag and steps onto a crowded train. Thousands are leaving, but thousands more stay. In Poland, in Germany, in France, the refugees arrive. Some find safety, others find only questions. When will we go home? They ask, but no one knows the answer. In Washington, a journalist writes an article. The world is at a turning point, she types. If Ukraine falls, what happens next? In Moscow, a general speaks. If we win here, we do not stop. In Beijing, an advisor whispers to the Chinese president. If the US looks weak, Taiwan will notice. A Ukrainian soldier loads his weapon. A Russian tank moves forward. A drone flies above the battlefield. The world watches. A decision must be made. And the future of global power depends on what happens next. Chapter 5. The Rise of China. A new superpower? The ship moves slowly through the water. It is massive, heavy, loaded with containers filled with goods, phones, computers, electric cars, all made in China, all sent to countries around the world. On the docks, workers move quickly. Cranes lift cargo. Trucks wait to carry them away. Business never stops. Factories never rest. China is rising. In Beijing, a government official stands before a large screen. A map of the world glows in front of him. Red lines stretch across the continents. Roads, railways, shipping routes, connections, power. He turns to the room. The West is slowing down, he says. We are not. China is not just growing. It is expanding. It is buying land, building cities, creating industries. From Africa to South America, from Asia to the Middle East, China is everywhere. In Kenya, a new railway runs across the land. Built by China, paid for by China, it connects towns and cities, bringing goods, workers, and money. But at what cost? Some say China's help is a gift. Others say it is a trap. In Brazil, a farmer holds a bag of seeds. They come from China. His soybeans will be exported to China. His land depends on China's demand. His future depends on decisions made far away. In Europe, leaders watch carefully. They see Chinese companies buying businesses, airports, technology. Some welcome the investment. Others worry. Are we selling too much? One politician asks. What happens when we need them? More than they need us. In the U.S., factories have closed. Once, they made steel. Once, they made cars. Now they stand empty. Jobs are gone. The machines are silent. Across the ocean, new factories rise in China. The machines there never stop. China's economy is strong. But money is not the only thing that matters. Power is also about influence, about control, about fear. In Taiwan, fighter jets roar across the sky. Chinese planes fly closer and closer. The island is small, but its importance is great. The U.S. supports Taiwan. China calls it a breakaway province. It wants it back. By force, if necessary. In Washington, a group of generals sit around a table. A map of the Pacific lies in front of them. They talk about war, about what might happen if China invades, about what the U.S. should do. No one has the answer. In Beijing, a different meeting takes place. A leader sits at a long table. His expression does not change. His voice is calm. The world is moving, he says. We will not be left behind. China does not want war. War is expensive. War is messy. War slows down business. But if China feels threatened, if it believes the U.S. is in its way, what will it do? In Africa, a group of students sit in a classroom. They are learning Mandarin. Their teacher smiles. China is the future, she says. The world will speak Chinese. In space, a rocket launches. A new satellite orbits the Earth. It belongs to China. The U.S. is watching. Russia is watching. Space is the next battlefield. In the South China Sea, fishermen see warships in the distance. Some carry Chinese flags. Others belong to the U.S. and its allies. The water is claimed by many, but China says, this is ours. In India, a journalist writes a report. China's power is growing, she types. But is it a partner or a threat? In a small village in Cambodia, a farmer stares at the road near his home. It is new, smooth, and strong. It was built by China. It connects his village to the city. He nods slowly. Life is better now, but he wonders, what does China want in return? Power is not just about war. It is about trade, technology, influence, fear. In Washington, an advisor whispers to the U.S. president, "We are not prepared for this," he says. In Moscow, a Russian leader speaks in private. "China is our friend," he says, but his voice is unsure. In Beijing, a businessman looks at a contract, a new deal, another country, another step forward. He smiles. "We are not waiting for the future," he says. "We are building it." The U.S. has been the world's leader for decades. But for how much longer? The world is changing. The old balance is breaking. China is making its move. And the question is, who can stop it? Before we begin Chapter 6, a quick note for our listeners. You're currently listening to this audiobook on Woo English. Remember, this content is specially made for Woo English listeners only. If you're hearing it on any other channel, it may be a violation of Woo English's rights. Please ensure you're tuned into the right source to fully enjoy and respect this audiobook journey. Now, let's continue the story. Chapter 6. Technology, War, and the Fight for Truth. The screen flickers. A breaking news alert flashes in red. The headline is shocking. The video plays. A world leader speaks. His voice is angry. His words are dangerous. Within minutes, millions of people watch it. Some are horrified. Others are ready for war. But there is a problem. The video is fake. Somewhere in a dark room, a machine created it. Artificial intelligence, deepfake technology. It looks real. It sounds real. But it is a lie. This is the new battlefield. Not with tanks, not with bombs, but with information. In Washington, a government analyst stares at his computer. His job is to track online threats. He sees something strange, an image, a tweet, a story that spreads too fast, too perfectly. His stomach tightens. "It's happening again," he whispers. In Moscow, a different analyst watches the same information. But he is not worried. He is smiling. The campaign is working. The lie is spreading. And soon, no one will know what to believe. In Beijing, engineers sit in a brightly lit office. They are training AI systems, facial recognition, voice cloning, automated propaganda. The goal is clear. Control the information, and you control the people. A journalist in London writes an article. "Fake news is everywhere," she types. "How do we know what is true anymore?" But before she can publish, her computer screen goes black. A virus, a cyber attack. Her story is gone, erased, a warning. The war is not just on the battlefield. It is in the air, in the data, in the mind. Somewhere in the Middle East, a drone flies silently. No pilot, no human inside. It is controlled by AI. It moves fast. It chooses its target. It fires. The explosion shakes the ground. People run for cover. Thousands of miles away, a man sits at a desk. He is safe. He holds a joystick. He presses a button. He controls the drone like a video game. But this is not a game. In Silicon Valley, billionaires meet behind closed doors. They talk about the future, about AI, about power. One of them leans forward. Governments think they are in control, he says, but soon they won't be. Technology is advancing too fast. Laws cannot keep up. Drones, surveillance, facial recognition, deepfake videos. The tools of war are no longer just weapons. In Europe, a protest begins. People hold signs. "Protect our privacy," they shout. "Stop AI spying on us." But behind them, cameras watch. The government knows who they are. Their faces are scanned. Their names are recorded. In China, a young woman checks her phone. She sees a social media post about protests in another city. She tries to share it. A warning pops up. This content is not allowed. Her internet slows down. She sighs. She knows better than to try again. In Russia, a hacker sits in a dark room. His fingers move fast across the keyboard. He breaks into a government database. He changes the numbers. He deletes the reports. He spreads false information. By morning, no one will know what is true. In the U.S., an election is coming. People argue online. Friends turn against each other. The news is confusing. Some say one thing, others say the opposite. Who is right? Who is lying? A politician speaks. "The media is lying to you," he shouts. People cheer. They believe him. But is he telling the truth? Or is he part of the lie? A scientist in Germany makes a discovery. A cure for a deadly disease. But before he can share it, false stories appear. Fake reports. Conspiracies. People do not trust him. They believe the lies instead. The cure is lost. In space, satellites orbit the Earth. They collect data. They watch everything. But who controls them? A government? A company? A single person? The answer is unclear. A student in India reads a history book. She learns about past wars, about battles, about heroes. But she wonders, what will future history books say about today? Will they tell the truth? Or will AI rewrite the past? In a bunker deep underground, a general gives an order. "Launch the cyber attack," he says. Within seconds, power grids shut down. Cities go dark. Panic spreads. No missiles, no soldiers, just computers. The war has begun. Not with guns, not with soldiers, but with data, with AI, with lies. And in the end, Chapter 7, Billionaires, Business, and Politics. A private jet takes off into the sky. Inside, a man sits in a leather chair. He holds a tablet in one hand and a glass of expensive wine in the other. His company owns satellites, social media, and electric cars. His decisions can change industries. His tweets can move stock markets. He is not a president, he is not a king, but his power is real. On the other side of the world, a politician gives a speech. He talks about democracy. He talks about the people. But behind him, on a giant screen, there is the logo of a corporation, a company that donated millions to his campaign, a company that expects something in return. Money and power have always been connected. But today, the richest men in the world are not just businessmen. They shape policy. They control the flow of information. They even build their own rockets, reaching for the stars while millions struggle to afford food. In Silicon Valley, a group of tech billionaires meet in secret. The room is quiet. The walls are made of glass, looking out over the city. One of them leans forward. "We don't need governments anymore," he says. "We can do what they can't." The others nod. They believe him. In Washington, a senator holds a hearing. She asks tough questions. Should one man control the internet? She demands. Should billionaires decide what is true and what is false? The man across from her smiles. He is calm. He knows something she does not. He owns the platform she is speaking on. In New York, an investor checks his phone. He sees that a billionaire has made a comment about a company. Within minutes, the stock price crashes. Thousands of people lose money. The billionaire shrugs. "It was just an opinion," he says. But opinions, when spoken by powerful men, can change the world. On a factory floor in India, workers move quickly. They build smartphones for low wages. The factory is owned by a company in California. The CEO talks about human rights, but his workers do not have enough to eat. In Africa, a tech giant provides free internet to villages. People celebrate. But soon, they realize something. The internet they use is controlled. Certain websites are blocked. News stories are filtered. The gift was not free. The price was their data. In China, a billionaire disappears. One day, he was giving a speech. The next, he was gone. The government said nothing. His company was taken. His influence erased. In China, billionaires do not challenge the government. The government controls them. In Europe, a group of activists protest outside a corporate headquarters. "Pay your taxes," they shout. The company makes billions in profit, but it finds loopholes. It pays almost nothing. A reporter asks a question. The CEO smiles. "We follow the law," he says. But the laws were written by people like him. In Texas, a rocket launches into space. A billionaire watches from below. He smiles. This is not just about exploration. This is business. The future will be built, not by governments, but by private companies. A scientist in Germany makes a discovery. A new kind of energy. Clean, powerful, unlimited. He wants to share it. But before he can, a corporation buys his research. The information disappears. The world is not ready, they say. Or maybe, the world is not profitable enough. In Brazil, the Amazon rainforest burns. Farmers clear land for cattle. A billionaire pledges money to save the trees. But at the same time, His company cuts down forests somewhere else. His donation is good publicity. Nothing more. In a small town in Ohio, a factory worker loses his job. His company is moving overseas. It is cheaper there. He watches the news. A billionaire talks about progress, about the future. The worker turns off the TV. He wonders, progress for whom? Power is shifting. No longer just in governments. No longer just in elections. It is in the hands of those who control information, those who control money, those who control technology. Some say these men are the future, visionaries, innovators. Others say they are dangerous. But one thing is certain. Money is power, and power never comes without a price. Chapter 8. The next crisis. What's coming? The world is moving too fast. A market crashes. Banks struggle. People lose their savings overnight. A man in New York watches the news. His hands shake. He worked for 30 years, and now his money is gone. In China, a new digital currency is introduced. It is faster, safer, controlled by the government. People are told it will make life easier, but it also means their money can be tracked and taken away. In Europe, energy prices rise again. Families sit in cold apartments, wearing jackets indoors. A mother counts her last coins. She has to choose food or electricity. The world is changing, and no one knows what will happen next. A war could begin. In Taiwan, fighter jets fly close to the island. Chinese ships move through the sea. A warning? A threat? The U.S. watches. The military is ready. The world holds its breath. A hacker in Moscow sits in front of his computer. He types quickly. His job? To break into a power grid. To turn off the lights in a foreign city. No bombs, no missiles, just a keyboard. The attack begins. A scientist in Geneva reads a report. A new virus has appeared. It is spreading. Fast. Will it be another pandemic? Will the world shut down again? He makes a phone call. The government needs to know. A journalist in London types her article. What will be the next global crisis? She asks. She does not have the answer. No one does. But history tells her one thing. When one crisis ends, another begins. A ship is stuck in the Suez Canal. It is blocking hundreds of others. Trade stops. Factories shut down. Supermarkets run out of food. One mistake, and the whole world feels it. A billionaire speaks at a conference. He talks about artificial intelligence. It will change everything, he says. It will be smarter than humans. The crowd claps. But later, in a private room, another businessman asks him, "Will it control us?" The billionaire does not answer. A young man in Brazil checks his phone. He sees videos of riots in another country. He does not know if they are real. The internet is full of lies. He wonders, who controls the truth? In Africa, farmers look at their fields. The land is dry, too dry. No rain, no food. Climate change is not a theory. It is here, and people are running out of time. The U.S. government meets behind closed doors. A senator whispers, "The economy cannot crash." Not yet. But the debt is growing. The dollar is weakening. What happens if the U.S. falls? If the world's most powerful economy collapses? In Russia, a leader looks at a map. His army is fighting. His country is under sanctions. His people are struggling. He picks up the phone. He speaks in a low voice. We must not lose. His generals nod. A group of soldiers in Eastern Europe check their weapons. Their commander looks at them. Be ready, he says. Something is coming. A factory in China builds microchips. They are small but powerful. Without them, computers do not work. Cars do not move. The world depends on them, and China controls them. A woman in Tokyo watches a news report. A financial crash is coming, the expert says. Prepare yourself. She turns off the TV. She does not know how to prepare. A man in Silicon Valley codes a new program. It is an AI system that can replace workers. He is proud of his work. But then he thinks, what happens when people have no jobs? A leader in the Middle East signs a deal. It is about oil. But this time, the U.S. is not involved. The world is finding new partners. Old alliances are breaking. A cyber attack shuts down an airport. Thousands of flights are canceled. Chaos spreads. People panic. No one knows who did it. No one knows why. A protest begins in Paris. People march in the streets. They are angry. Life is harder. Prices are high. Wages are low. The police arrive. The air fills with smoke. A scientist in Antarctica checks his instruments. The ice is melting faster than ever before. He makes a note in his report. But will anyone listen? The world is connected. A crisis in one country spreads to another. A mistake in one system affects millions. A war in one region can change everything. A man in Washington picks up a red phone. We have a problem, he says. A mother in India holds her child close. Everything will be okay, she whispers. A teenager in South Africa closes his eyes. He wonders what kind of world he will grow up in. No one knows what the next crisis will be. But one thing is certain. It is already on its way. Chapter 9. The Fall of the U.S. A flag waves in the wind. Red, white, and blue. The stars and stripes. Below it, a group of politicians argue. Their voices are loud. Their faces are tense. They do not agree. They do not listen to each other. On television, a reporter speaks. The government is in crisis, she says. The country is more divided than ever. In the streets of Washington, protesters march. Some hold American flags. Others burn them. A man stands on a stage. He raises his fist. We are losing our country, he shouts. The crowd cheers. Another man in another city says something different. We need change, he argues. His crowd cheers too. But no one is listening. The U.S. is still the most powerful country in the world. Its military is strong. Its economy is huge, but something is changing. Something is breaking. In Detroit, a factory stands empty. Rust covers the machines. Once, workers built cars here. Now, the jobs are gone. Moved to China, moved to Mexico. A man walks past the gates. He remembers when this place was full of life. Now, it is just a ghost of the past. In Los Angeles, a mother checks food prices. They are too high. Her paycheck is too small. Rent is rising. Gas is expensive. She sighs. How can we live like this? She whispers. In Texas, a farmer looks at his land. It is dry. Too dry. There is no rain. Crops are dying. He watches the news. Another hurricane. Another wildfire. Climate change is not just a story. It is real, and it is hurting his future. On Wall Street, a businessman stares at the numbers on his screen. Stocks are falling. Investors are scared. The economy is in trouble. The debt is rising. How long can this last? He asks. In the Pentagon, generals sit in a large room. A map of the world is in front of them. Red marks show conflicts: Ukraine, Taiwan, the Middle East. A man points. We are fighting too many battles, he says. We cannot win them all. The U.S. has enemies. Russia pushes forward. China builds stronger alliances. Iran and North Korea test weapons. America watches. But can it still lead? In Beijing, Chinese officials meet. They speak softly, carefully. The U.S. is weaker than before, one says. Their people are divided. Their economy is unstable. Another nods. The future belongs to us. In Moscow, a Russian leader smirks. America was strong once, he says. Not anymore. In Europe, U.S. allies whisper to each other. Can we still trust them? A French diplomat asks. If they fall, who will protect us? A cyber attack shuts down banks. Airports close. People panic. No one knows who did it. Was it Russia? China? A group of hackers? It doesn't matter. The system is fragile. And now, people can see it. A senator in Washington makes a speech. America is still the greatest country in the world, he says. People clap. But outside, the streets are filled with homeless tents. A young soldier in Florida watches the news. The government is cutting military budgets. He wonders, will he still have a job next year? Will his country still be the strongest? In a classroom in New York, students learn about the fall of the Roman Empire. They became too big, the teacher explains, too divided, too tired of war, and in the end, they collapsed. A girl raises her hand. Could that happen to us? She asks. No one answers. In a bunker deep underground, intelligence officers look at their screens. They see threats. They see danger. But the biggest danger is inside their own country. People no longer trust the media. They do not trust elections. They do not trust each other. A nation without trust is a nation on the edge. The U.S. has fallen before. The Great Depression, the Vietnam War, the financial crash of 2008. Each time it came back stronger. But this time feels different. This time, the world is watching. This time, there are new superpowers waiting to take its place. This time, it may not recover. A billionaire in Silicon Valley makes a quiet decision. He moves his money overseas, just in case. A president in a foreign country speaks to his advisors. The U.S. is not the same anymore, he says. We must prepare for a new world. A mother in Chicago turns off the news. She holds her child. She does not care about politics. She only wants him to have a future. A question fills the air. Is this the end of the American era? Or is it just another test? No one knows. But one thing is clear. Every empire falls, and the U.S. is standing on the edge. Chapter 10. The Future of Global Power. The world is changing. Fast. In Washington, a group of politicians sit in a large room. The lights are dim. The air is heavy. Maps and documents cover the table. They talk about China, about Russia, about the economy. A senator leans forward. His voice is low. Are we still number one? He asks. No one answers. In Beijing, a different meeting takes place. The Chinese president listens carefully. An advisor speaks. The U.S. is weak, he says. Now is our time. The president does not smile. He does not celebrate. He only nods. In Moscow, the Russian leader stares at a screen. War continues. Sanctions tighten. His country is under pressure. But he does not give up. The West thinks we are finished, he says. They are wrong. Power is shifting. The European Union tries to hold itself together. France and Germany struggle with their economies. The UK stands alone. Some countries look to the U.S. for leadership. Others turn to China. Some do not know where to go. In Africa, leaders welcome Chinese investments. New roads, new ports, new jobs. But is it a partnership or a trap? In Latin America, governments make quiet decisions. They once followed the U.S. Now, they look at China, at Russia, at the highest bidder. In India, a tech billionaire speaks at a conference. This century belongs to us, he says. We have the people, the resources, and the knowledge. The crowd cheers. In Silicon Valley, artificial intelligence continues to grow. Machines think faster, smarter. A businessman looks at his computer. One day, he whispers, AI will rule the world. A scientist in Switzerland makes a discovery. A new energy source, cheap, powerful, unlimited. If one country controls it, they will control everything. In space, satellites watch from above. The U.S. has them. So does China. So does Russia. But who controls space controls the future. A war could change everything. In Taiwan, the tension grows. Chinese warships move closer. Fighter jets fly overhead. The U.S. sends support. But will it be enough? In Eastern Europe, a group of soldiers prepare for battle. Their commander looks at them. Stay ready, he says. This is not over. In cyberspace, a hacker begins his work. He targets banks, governments, power grids. He is invisible, unstoppable. and he does not need bullets to win a war. A young woman in Nigeria studies on her phone. She is learning English, coding, business. She does not wait for the future to come to her. She is building it. A farmer in Brazil looks at his land. Climate change is real. Droughts, floods. If the planet continues to heat up, no country will be safe. A leader in the Middle East signs a new agreement. It is not with the U.S., it is not with China, it is with a private company. Money is power, and billionaires are the new kings. In New York, an economist writes a report. He looks at history, at the fall of empires, at the rise of new ones. He asks a question. Is the U.S. the next empire to fall? In Tokyo, a group of students discuss the future. Will China take over? One asks. Will India? Will AI? No one knows the answer. In a secret room, a military general watches a screen. A map of the world glows in front of him. Red zones, conflict zones, risk zones. He sighs. We are running out of time. A mother in Paris reads the news. It is full of war, politics, and fear. She turns off her phone. She looks at her child. The future will be better, she says, but does she believe it? A teenager in South Africa listens to a speech. It is full of hope, of dreams, of ambition. He smiles. We will be the next superpower, he says. Power is never permanent. Once, the British Empire ruled the world. Then, the U.S. took its place. Now, China, Russia, and others fight for control. But the future does not belong to governments alone. It belongs to those who adapt, to those who innovate, to those who do not wait for change, but create it. Somewhere, in a small room, a young inventor builds something new. A new technology, a new idea, a new future. The world does not know his name yet, but soon it will. The battle for global power continues, and the next leader of the world may not be a country at all.